Hello everybody. Today we are going to discuss about the class versus object in Python. So, what is a class? Class is a blueprint, and what is object? Object is the physical existence of a class in the memory. So, we also use our term instance or object of a class when we physically create it into the memory. So this is the major difference between class versus object. Now what happens when you have a computer and computer is having a heap memory, then all the objects are created on that heap memory. So what would happen? That all the instances or the physical existence of the class would happens when you create the object of a particular class. Every object is having a address in the memory. So you every time when you create and rerun the object, a new space or new address is allocated to that particular address. So what would happen if you would see in this code, if we are having a class alpha and we print the ID of the object C1, that is the object of the class alpha, then definitely it will print some address. So let's do it on the editor. What we can do, I am just creating a class alpha over here with the semicolon, and if I don't have to write anything, then pass is fine for me. Then what could I do? C1 dot is equal to alpha, and alpha is a constructor of particular class, and after that I am just printing the ID of C1. Let's run it. If you could see over here, the address of the object C1 has been printed. Then you can do C2 alpha, and I'm just going to print the ID of C. So two address has been printed over here. After that, now I am going to discuss the objective of the constructor. So what is the purpose of constructor? Um, a constructor initialize the data member class. How I can initialize the constructor in the Python? In the Python, we have to use the keyword define and underscore in it, and in it, and then we can pass the parameters over here. Um, Now after that, I can find the data members. For instance, I am just names and shell dot age. That's it. And print the cell dot rate cell dot age. Let's see what happens. So you could see over here, I have created the two objects C1 and C2. When C1 is called the alpha and 9 is printed for the C1, and when the C2 is called alpha and 9 is printed for the C2. And these are the memory locations for C1 and the C2 on heap. Okay, let's do it by passing some arguments over here. Maybe I want to change the C1 dot name equal to, then I can also make the changes over here. If I would print the C1 dot name, then I would get the change value of the name. So init is used for initializing the data member of a particular class. Now I am going to discuss about the self. What is the purpose of self? Self is pointing to the current object. I can let's make another class. For instance, I'm going to create a class definition with the depth form, form, and I can compare the two objects. One is self, and the other one maybe could be any with any name. If self is equal to other, then print. Right? And sorry, I missed the colon sign. How could what I could do over here? I could do it in this way. C1 dot form. Now what would happen? C1 is pointing to the self because it is calling itself, and the other is pointed to the C2, that is I'm passing an as an argument over here. After that, it will compare the two objects, and I could see some output over here. Um, I think both objects are not, if the both objects are not equal, then else print, print not. Okay, that's it. So you could see that both objects are not equal, they are different. Maybe I could also pass C1 and C1 over here to see whether both are equal. So it means that it is perfectly working. So it means that when you call the C1 dot, then C1 is pointing to the self or object itself, and C2 as an argument is passed, and it the value would be copied in the other argument over here. And after that, you can call the data members, the methods of the particular class. So this is the main concept of initializing the data members of the class in the Python, and you can also create some self-defined functions. You could see over here that com is a self-defined function that I have defined over here by passing the two arguments, and I'm just making a comparison of the two arguments over here. So it means that for the right now we have learned how I can create one class, how can I initialize the data members, how I can create a function, and I can make these particular objects are created in the heap, and after that there are some particular addresses that are associated with them. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much.